The storm outside had been raging for hours, but inside the dimly lit rooftop restaurant, everything looked calm. Almost too calm. The city lights shimmered below the glass walls, reflecting like broken stars across the floor. Emma, a tired but resilient waitress working the late shift, balanced a tray against her chest as she moved between tables. She had seen countless rich guests, countless secrets hidden behind designer clothes and expensive perfumes, but nothing had prepared her for the night when her hands would tremble so violently that the tray nearly slipped. Because that night, the moment she caught a glimpse of the tattoo on the billionaire's wife, her whole world collapsed into a single, terrifying realization. She had seen that symbol before, and the last time she saw it, someone she loved disappeared forever.
Inside the dimly lit rooftop restaurant, everything looked calm, almost too calm. The city lights shimmered below the glass walls, reflecting like broken stars across the floor. Emma, a tired but resilient waitress working the late shift, balanced a tray against her chest as she moved between tables. She had seen countless rich guests, countless secrets hidden behind designer clothes and expensive perfumes, but nothing had prepared her for the night when her hands would tremble so violently that the tray nearly slipped. Because that night, the moment she caught a glimpse of the tattoo on the billionaire's wife, her whole world collapsed into a single, terrifying realization. She had seen that symbol before, and the last time she saw it, someone she loved disappeared forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that show how small moments can change lives, please take a second to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. It means more than you know. Emma swallowed hard and steadied herself. The billionaire, Adrian Voss, was one of the city's most powerful and mysterious men. People whispered about him, how he built an empire overnight, how he made bold decisions that either inspired admiration or terrified competitors. But Emma wasn't looking at him. Her eyes were glued to the woman at his side, Serafina Voss, a woman so beautiful she seemed sculpted from moonlight, her presence both gentle and intimidating, her silence more commanding than speech. Serafina lifted her hand to adjust her bracelet, and that was when the sleeve of her gown slipped just an inch. Enough for Emma to see it. Enough for Emma's heart to stop. A symbol etched in black ink, 3 intersecting lines forming an eye-like spiral wrapped in a geometric frame. It wasn't a normal tattoo. It was the symbol of the quiet, eerie underground group Emma's older sister once feared. The one she used to whisper about late at night. The one she claimed followed her for weeks before she vanished without explanation. Emma had spent years trying to convince herself her sister's disappearance was random, unrelated, a tragic accident or a runaway story gone wrong. But now, in front of her, the symbol stared back at her like an accusation. Her breath hitched, and she stumbled backward, hitting the corner of a table so sharply she nearly gasped aloud. The tray rattled in her hands. Adrian noticed the sound. Even with his calm, stoic demeanor, his eyes flickered with concern, not for himself, but for the woman beside him. He moved almost protectively, as if shielding her. Serafina turned, her gaze landing directly on Emma. It was soft, almost kind, yet there was something else. An understanding, as though she knew exactly what Emma saw, and exactly what it meant. Emma tried to look away, but the memory of her sister's trembling hands returned. How she clutched her journal, how she said she saw the same symbol on someone's wrist at a charity gala. The final night Emma saw her, she whispered, "If anything happens to me, remember the eye that watches everything." Emma didn't believe her then. She wished she had. The rest of the evening dragged like a weight. Emma attempted to work, but her thoughts spun into chaos. Every time she passed their table, she felt Serafina's calm eyes and Adrian's guarded presence. She studied them silently, noticing the faint tension between them, not in kindness, but something shielding, protective, as though both were aware of a truth the world would never believe. When their dinner finally finished, Emma watched them walk through the glass doors hand in hand, disappearing into the storm. She leaned against a counter, her pulse racing, her thoughts spiraling. She knew she shouldn't get involved. She had learned the hard way that chasing mysteries could ruin everything. But something about Serafina's eyes stayed with her. Something sad, something pleading, something human. That night, she left work feeling the weight of a story she didn't know how to escape. The next afternoon, the restaurant manager called her unexpectedly to the office. Emma instantly feared the worst. Maybe she had messed up last night. Maybe they thought she acted strangely. But when she entered the office, she froze. Adrian Voss was there. So was his wife. Emma's stomach twisted painfully as Serafina turned toward her, the same calm composure across her elegant features. Adrian stepped forward, not threatening, but firm in presence, a man used to controlling outcomes. Emma expected reprimand, expected coldness,
Expected danger. Instead, Serafina approached her with an expression that carried both apology and quiet desperation. Emma realized then that the tattoo was no mere mark of power. It was a scar. Serafina began explaining, not with words, but through an emotional confession that poured out like water breaking through a dam. Emma learned that Serafina had been born into a family bound to a dark, secretive lineage. Not a mythical cult controlling the world, but a manipulative circle of people who used fear, threats, and psychological control to maintain loyalty. The tattoo wasn't a sign of belonging. It was a brand she was forced to receive as a child. She spent years trying to escape them. Adrian met her during those years and risked everything to protect her. Emma stood speechless. The symbol she feared had tormented someone else far longer than she ever knew. Serafina wasn't part of something sinister. She was a survivor. The real monsters were the ones who forced that symbol onto her skin, who hunted her for years, who wanted her back under their control. Hearing this cracked something inside Emma, something old, something wounded. For years she thought her sister had been paranoid. But what if she hadn't been? What if she had encountered something similar? What if the tattoo was part of a much bigger world Emma never understood? Serafina then gently asked Emma why the tattoo shook her so badly. And finally, after years of silence, Emma broke down and shared her story, her sister's fear, her disappearance, the journal entries about symbols that watched, the helplessness of not knowing if she was alive or gone forever. Tears streamed down Emma's face as the pain of all those memories resurfaced. Serafina placed a comforting hand on Emma's trembling arm. She promised, quietly but firmly, that she would help Emma find answers. Adrian agreed. Not with arrogance, but with the steady conviction of a man who knew the cost of losing someone to darkness and refusing to let it happen again. From that moment, everything changed. Emma found herself drawn into a new world, not a world of danger, but of truth, healing, and unexpected connection. Adrian used his vast resources to investigate what happened to Emma's sister. Serafina connected Emma with a support group she once relied on herself, telling her she didn't have to face her pain alone. For the first time, Emma felt her grief was shared, understood, and validated. Days turned into weeks as they uncovered fragments of Emma's sister's past, security footage, bus tickets, old journals. They pieced together a story that showed Emma's sister had attempted to run from the same kind of people who once controlled Serafina. She had been brave, fighting against something far bigger than herself. Emma learned that although her sister never made her way home, she had spent her last months helping others escape a similar fate. She became a quiet guardian, using whatever knowledge she had to protect others, even risking her own safety. Emma cried for days, not just from grief, but from pride. Her sister wasn't weak. She was a hero Emma never fully understood. Adrian and Serafina stayed by her side through every revelation, offering comfort instead of distance, compassion instead of formality. They gave her something she lost long ago: closure, dignity, and the reminder that even in tragedy, there is honor. The months that followed shaped a new chapter in Emma's life. Serafina helped her enroll in evening classes to become a social worker for vulnerable women. Adrian secretly funded the costs, though he insisted Emma never owed him a thing. The restaurant became only a stepping stone, no longer the center of her world. She felt her sister's strength carrying her forward. She learned how kindness can come from unexpected places, how even the most powerful people carry wounds invisible to the world, and how a single terrifying moment, seeing a tattoo, could spark a chain of events that led her toward healing, understanding, and purpose. And Serafina? She finally felt safe. The brand on her arm no longer defined her. Meeting Emma reminded her she wasn't alone, that every survivor deserves a chance to reclaim their life. By the time the year came to an end, the three of them had built something rare. A bond forged not by blood, but by truth and shared pain. They stood together not as billionaire and waitress, but as human beings who had rescued each other in different ways.